A morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
Welcome, welcome everyone to the Love of Dunbar Collective Juneteenth celebration from plantation to liberation. Now, if you're not familiar with the Love of Dunbar Collective, we have been meeting for almost 3 years now, and we research, read, and and we ask that you mute yourselves. Okay, thank you. I'm going to mute everybody. You look at all the lighting back in parts of Anson County into West Virginia, Hardee County as well, back into parts of Mineral County. This is all moving to the south and east. So can everyone please mute themselves, please? County, Maryland, or Bettye County, Virginia. Somebody's through, and the rest of us might see them a little bit later on too. So I'll be tracking these storms for you for the next few hours. The weather headline:
it looked like it's Martha.
It's Martha.
Here you go.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Oni Lasana, and I want to thank you for coming to spend time with us to experience Paul Laurence Dunbar's poetry. We have been meeting almost 3 years now, and what we have done is research, we read, and we dig into Paul Dunbar's life. We find out more about the person he was, and most of all, we enjoy his Southern and Northern dialect poetry. Tonight, we compiled our favorite poems that are connected to the theme of Juneteenth. So at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Nashid Ali. And Nashid Ali, he is going to let us know what Juneteenth means and the history of the holiday. Just a little housekeeping thing is that we will not use the chat during the program, okay? And you'll see the order of appearance of the poems in the chat, but we're not going to use it at all, so everyone can just focus on the poetry, okay? So here we go. This is Brother Nashid Ali from Keepers of the Culture and National Association of Black Storytellers. Nashid? Unmute yourself, my friend.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone. Peace. This is a little background on Juneteenth. January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, announcing that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforward shall be free. There were nearly 3 to 4 million enslaved Africans at the time of the proclamation was issued. Approximately 800,000 of them remained enslaved after the proclamation was issued. This was nearly 2 years after the Civil War started over the issue of economics and political control of slavery. By the time the war ended on April 9th, 1865, approximately 180,000 enslaved had fought during the Civil War in hopes that they and their descendants would live in freedom thereafter. There was a glitch. For 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, a full 2 months after the Civil War ended, enslaved people in Texas continued to hold the corn and wear the mask to hide the dissonance between their philosophies about their secret experiences and the expectations of their slaveholders and fellow enslaved people. June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger of the Union forces arrived in Galveston, Texas, delivering General Orders Number 3, informing 250,000 enslaved people in Texas they were free. And Juneteenth was first celebrated June 19, 1866. Early celebrations were started by Christian churches and the Freedmen's Bureau. Over the decades, it has held many names: Black Independence Day, Freedom Day, Texas Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, Jubilee Day, and Juneteenth. Celebrations range from family reunions, community gatherings, church ceremonies, and civic engagements, festivals, and parades. In 1980, Al Edwards, a freshman state representative, put forward Bill HB 1016, making Texas the first state to grant this emancipation celebration. As migrations to and from Texas occurred over the next few decades, the awareness and celebration of Juneteenth spread across the nation. In 2016, at the age of 89, Ms. Opal Lee started walking 2.5 miles per day from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. to advocate for Juneteenth's national recognition, and collected 1.5 million petition signatures towards this effort. The distance of her daily walk symbolized the 2.5-year lag between President Lincoln's issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. On June 17, 2021, with Miss Opal Lee standing by President Joe Biden, he signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, declaring June 19th, Juneteenth, a national holiday. We, the Love of Dunbar Collective, will use poems by Paul Laurence Dunbar to lead everyone under the sound of our voices from the barbaric enslavement of generations of African men, women, and children and their descendants to the unshackled liberation of their minds, bodies, and souls in the United States of America, land of the free and home of the brave.
On the wide veranda white, in the purple failing light, sits the master while the sun is slowly burning. And his dreamy thoughts are drowned in the softly flowing sound of the corn song of the field hands, slow returning. Oh, we hold a cone since the early morn. Now this sinking sun says the day is done. Over the fields with heavy tread, light of heart and high of head, though the halting steps be labored, slow and weary, still the spirits brave and strong find a comfort in song, and their corn songs rises ever loud and weary. Oh, we hold a cone since the early morn. Now this sinking sun says the day is done. To the master in his seat comes the burden, full and sweet, of the mellow minor music growing clear. As the toilers raise the hymn through the silence, dust, and dim, to the cabin's restful shelter drawing near. Oh, we hold it on since the early morn. Now the sinking sun says the day is done. And a tear is in the eye of the master sitting by, as he listens to the echoes low replying, to the music's fading calls, as it faints away and falls into silence, deep within the cabin, dying. Oh, we hold a cone since the early morn. Now the sinking sun says the day is done. Unmute yourself, sis.
Deep within the song, deep within the cabin dying, double-minded, double consciousness, wearing more than one face. We wear the mask. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile. With mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
Luck, oh, no more, no more, no more auction block, oh, Ellie, hours ago. No more pint of salt, oh, no more, no more, no more pint of salt for many thousand gone. No more drivers.
When the owner of the plantation, where Soti was being worked as a slave, came down to her bare bones cabin with the intention of using her to gratify his sexual urges, Soti, bone tired, made up her mind to not yield to his command to go on up to the big house. At first, when she said no, he punched her in the face. When she kicked her in her side. Screaming in anguish, she fell against the rough-hewn chair, crying out in pain with each intake of breath. Waveringly, she struggled to stand, unable to straighten up as he barked the demand that she move. His devilish desire thwarted, Mr. Massa grabbed up a heavy metal object from the floor and bashed Soti in the side of her head, audibly cracking her skull. With the last sharp scream, Soti fell broken to the floor and gave up the spirit. Without so much as a glance down at the woman he had callously rendered dead, the beast known as Massa turned on his shoed heel, stepped over her murdered body, and strode out the cabin door. We're going to talk about how crimes then, and even now, were kept and are kept secret. What says the wind to the waving trees? What says the wave to the river? What means the sigh in the passing breeze? Why do the rushes quiver? Have you not heard the fainting cry of the flowers that said, goodbye, goodbye? List how the grave dove moans and grieves under the woodland cover. List to the drift of the falling leaves. List to the wail of the lover. Have you not caught the message heard already by wave and breeze and bird? Come away to the river's bank. Come in the early morning. Come when the grass with dew is dank. There you will find the warning, a hint in the kiss of the quickening air of the secret that birds and breezes bear.
On some plantations, men were also abused by their mistresses. But if the secret was ever exposed, they would whip poor Will for what Katy did. Slow the nights are falling, and I hear the calling out upon the lonesome hill. Sound is mighty dreary, solemn like and scary, saying for to whip poor Will. Now it's mighty trying for to hear this crying. 'Deed it hits more than I can stand. So with all our slipping, there's enough of whipping, doubt a bird of visiting any man. In the noon of summer's days, another hummer sings another song instead, and his throat's a swelling with the joy of telling what he says that Katy did. Now I feels uncertain. Won't you raise the curtain over all the things that's hid? Why that feather person goes around a visit, whipping Will when Katy did. Hit 'em a little, hit 'em, hit 'em, hit 'em, hit 'em, hit 'em a little, hit 'em, hit 'em, I don't know how my mother walked her trouble down. I don't know how my father stood his ground. I don't know how my people survived slavery. I
do remember, that's why I believe.
Even in the face of the dehumanizing atrocities of plantation life, Dunbar reminds us in his poem, A Plantation Portrait, that somehow, anyhow, we found a way to leaven our spirits with the joys and pleasures of romantic love. Mm, mm, mm. Ain't you seen my Mandy Lou? Is it true? Where you been, I say, from day to day? Where, I say, that you say you never seen this here queen walking round from field to street, smiling sweet, slender as a sapling tree. Seems to me when the wind blows from the bay, she just sway like the regular sapling do if it's grew straight and graceful, without a limb, sweet and slim. Mm-mm-mm. Browner than a thrush's wing, and she sang like he make his wobble ring in the spring. But she surely beat the thrush. You hear me? Hush. When she sang, her teeth can show white as snow. Eyes as big and round and bright as the light what the moon gives in the prime harvest time. And her hair, a woolly skein, black and plain, holds you with a natural twist close to bliss. Lord, tender hands that make your own feel like stone. Easy stepping, blessed feet, small and sweet. Ain't you seen my Mandy Lou? Is it true? Look at her, before she gone and pass on.
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. We have gathered here, my brothers, in this howling wilderness, for to speak some words of comfort to each other in distress. And we choose for our subject, this we'll explain it by and by. And the Lord said, Moses, Moses, and the man said, Here am I. Now, old Pharaoh down in Egypt was the worst man ever born. And he had the Hebrew children down there working in his corn. Well, the Lord got tired of fooling and says I'll let him know. Look here, Moses, go tell Pharaoh for to let them children go. And if he refuse to do it, I will make him rule the hour, for I'll empty down on Egypt all the vials of my power. Yes, he did. And Pharaoh's army wasn't worth a half a dime. For the Lord will help his children. You can trust him every time. And your enemies may sail you in the back and in the front, but the Lord is all around you for to bear the battle's brunt. They can forge your chains and shackles from the mountains to the sea, But the Lord will send some Moses for to set them children free. And the land shall hear his thunder from Gabriel's horn, for the Lord of hosts is mighty when he girds his armor on. But for fear someone mistakes me, I will pause right here to say that I'm a still preaching ancient. I ain't talking about today. But I tell you, fellow Christians, things are happening mighty strange. And the Lord done this for Israel, and his ways don't never change. And he showed for Israel was all and wasn't all on Israel spent. And don't run and tell your masters that I'm preaching discontent, because I isn't. I's a judging Bible people by their acts. I's giving you the scripture. I's handing you the facts. Because old Pharaoh believed in slavery, but the Lord, he let him see that the people he put breath in, every mother's son was free. And there's other stinks like Pharaoh, but they calls the scripture liar. For the Bible says a servant is a work of his hire. And you can't get around nor through this, and you can't get over it. For whatever place you get in, this here Bible to a fit. So you see, the Lord's intention ever since the world began was that his almighty freedom should be for every man. But I think it would be better if I would again to say that I'm a talking about our freedom in a Biblistic way. But the Moses is a coming, and he is a coming sure and fast. We can hear his feet a trumping. We can hear his trumpet blast. But I want to warn you people, don't you get too briggity, and don't you get a bragging about these things. You just wait and see. But when Moses with his power comes and set us children free, we will praise the gracious master that has given us liberty. And we'll shout our hallelujahs on that mighty reckoning day. When we recognize as citizens. Let us pray. In the water, come on and wade in the water, children, wade in the water. Oh my God, God's going to trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Come on and wade in the water, children, wade in the water. My God's gonna trouble the water. If you hear telling me dying, I don't know nobody to cry. Oh yeah. I want you to do for me.
So we know the power of the pen contributed to the movement of freedom. Frenchman Jean Voltaire, alive during the atrocity of the African enslavement trade, said, "His story is a study of all the world's crime." Howard Zinn, 20th century American historian, wrote, "If you don't know history, it's as if you were born yesterday. If you were born yesterday, then any leader can tell you anything. History is instructive. It suggests to people that even if they do little things, join a vigil, write a letter to the newspaper, anything they do, however small, becomes part of a much larger sort of flow of energy. And when enough people do enough things, then change takes place. British man Edward Hallett Carr insightfully said, "Study the historian before you begin to study the facts." Martin Robinson Delaney, 1812-1885, born in Charlestown, Virginia, which became West Virginia, was a writer, editor, doctor, and politician, and the first African field officer in the U.S. Army. He was majorly responsible for the recruitment of African people into the Union Army, serving as a major during and after the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Delaney, proud of his Africanness, stood as one of the first African American nationalists. Martin Delaney said, "The rights of no oppressed people have ever yet been obtained by a voluntary act of justice on the part of the oppressors." Paul Dunbar wrote tributes to notables in the mission to end slavery and set free the multitudes of Africans held in the U.S. These heroes and sheroes included Harriet Beecher Stowe, Abraham Lincoln, and the great Frederick Douglass.
Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. And after writing it, people learned more about the horrors caused and inflicted upon the slaves. And they were appalled. It was the first time they really knew about it. Harriet Beecher Stowe, she told the story of Uncle Tom's Cabin. She told it, and the world wept. All wrongs and cruelties that it had not known, but for this fearless woman's voice alone. She spoke to the consciousness that long had slept. Her message, freedom's clear reveille, swept from its hobble to complacent throne. Command and prophecy were in the tone. And from that sheath, the sword of justice leapt. Around two people swelled a fiery wave, but both came forth transfigured from that flame. Blessed be the hand that dared be strong to save, and blessed be she who in our weakness came. Prophet and priestess, at one stroke she gave a race to freedom and herself to fame.
Paul Laurence Dunbar, the poet, was sensitive. He felt the pain of his people enslaved, but he also felt the heavy burden that the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, had on his shoulders. Abraham Lincoln was working to keep the Union together and to free and enslaved people. Paul Laurence Dunbar wrote this poem for Lincoln. Hurt was the nation with a mighty wound, and all her ways were filled with clamorous sound. Wailed loud the South with unremitting grief, and wept the North that could not find relief. Then madness joined its harshest tone to strife. A minor note swelled in the song of life, till, stirring with the love that filled his breast, but still unflinching at the right's behest, grave Lincoln came, strong-handed from afar, the mighty Homer of the lyre of war. It 'twas he who bade the raging tempest cease, wrenched from his heart the harmony of peace, muted the strings that made the discord roam, and gave his spirit up in thunders. O mighty maestro of the mighty lyre, earth heard and trembled at thy strains of fire. Earth learned of thee what heaven already knew, and wrote thee down among her treasured few.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Oh, yes. The ghost of Douglas. I can still hear his voice. At last, Douglas is no longer with us. Dunbar's tribute to Douglas. Frederick Douglass, a mentor and friend to Paul Laurence Dunbar. In tribute to Douglass, young Dunbar wrote a poem honoring him, titled Frederick Douglass. A hush is over all the teeming list, and there is pause, a breath space in the strife. A spirit brave has passed beyond the mists and vapors that obscure the sun of life, and Ethiopia with bosom torn laments the passing of her noblest born. When bondage held liberty bleeding in the dust, he raised her up and whispered hope and trust. For her his voice, a fearless clarion rung, that broke in warning on the ears of men. For her the strong bow of his power he strung, and sent his arrows to the very den, where grim oppression held his bloody place, and gloated o'er the mistress of a race. And he was no soft apologist. He spoke straight forward, fearlessly, uncowed. The sunlight of his truth dispelled the mist and set in bold relief each dark-hued cloud, To sin and crime he gave their proper hue, and hurled at evil what was evil's due. Through God and ill report he cleaved his way, when men maligned him, and their torrent wrath and furious imprecations o'er him broke. He kept his counsel as he kept his path. 'Twas for his race, not for himself he spoke. He knew the import of his master's call, and felt himself too mighty to be small. No miser in the good he held was he. His kindness followed his horizon's rim. His heart, his talents, and his hands were free to all who truly needed aught of him, where poverty and ignorance were rife. He gave his bounty as he gave his life. The place and cause that first aroused his might still proved his power until his latest day. O'er all that holds us we shall triumph yet, and place our banner where his hopes were set. O Douglas, thou hast passed beyond the shore, but still thy voice is ringing o'er the gale. Thou taught thy race how high her hopes may soar, and bade her seek the heights nor faint nor fail. And arising from beneath the chastening rod, he stretches out his hand to God.
Son, mother, because you loved me, much achieved. Had you despised me, then I must have failed. But since I knew you trusted and believed, I could not disappoint you, and so prevailed.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom.
Justice, justice on the road to liberation. Justice is in the wind, and it was over 3 years into the Civil War before a public call was listed for colored soldiers to fight for their own rights to a promised freedom. Our genius friend Dunbar gave voice to a haunted oak as the hanging tree witnessed the carnage spoke of from false arrest and lynchings. In the North, our soldiers in blue marched along the rugged way, dying for freedom as they left loved ones behind. As we all know, we exist under a higher force, and this force was at work, as Dunbar so boldly implied, in God reigns. And the Union won, so stated in Emancipation. And finally, in 1866, the first Juneteenth was celebrated with music, food, and dancing in free communities. And we'll hear all about it in the party, the first Juneteenth. So let's continue to tell our American story through the spoken words of Paul Laurence Dunbar as we move forward from plantation to liberation. All right. All right.
Justice by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Enthroned upon the mighty truth, within the confines of the laws. True justice seeth not the man, but only hears his cause. Unconscious of his creed or race, she cannot see but only weighs. For justice with unbandaged eyes would be oppression in disguise.
Paul Laurence Dunbar, during that time, right after the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, they were lynching Black men left and right, hanging them over trees. Paul Laurence Dunbar felt that pain because it was rampant. And he wrote this poem called The Haunted Oak, because he was walking past an oak one day. And as he walked that oak, and that was his favorite oak, and as he walked that oak, Paul Laurence Dunbar said to himself, he was always thinking about poetry, pray, why are you so bare? So bare, O bough of the old oak tree. And why, when I go through the shade you throw, it runs a shudder over me. Paul Laurence Dunbar, after he said that to himself and said that to the universe through that tree spoke to him. And listen to that tree and what it says. My leaves were green as the best I believe, and sap ran free in my veins. But I saw in the moonlit dim and weird a guiltless victim's pains. I bent me down to hear his sigh. I shook with his gurgling moan. I trembled sore when they rolled away and they left him here alone. They charged him with the old crime and set him fast in jail. Oh, why does the dog howl all night long, and why does the night wind wail? He prayed his prayer and he swore his oath, and he trained his hand to the sky. But the beat of hoods smote his ear, and the steady tread drew nigh. Who is it rides by night over the moonlit road? And what is the spur that keeps the pace? And what is the galling goad? And now they beat at the prison door. Ho, keeper, do not stay. We are friends of him who you hold within, and we fain would take him away from those who ride fast on our heels with mind to do him wrong. They have no care for his innocence, and the rope they bear is long. They have fooled the jailer with lying words. They have fooled the man with lies. The bolts unbar, the locks are drawn, and the great door opens. Now they have taken him from the jail, and hard and fast they ride. And the leader laughs low down in his throat as they halt my trunk beside. Oh, the judge, he wore a mask of black. And the doctor, one of white. And the minister, with his oldest son, was curiously pedite. Oh, foolish man, why weep you now? 'Tis but a little space, and the time will come, and thee shall dread the memory of your face. I feel the rope against my bark, and the weight of him in my grain. I feel the throes of his final woe, the touch of my own last pain. and never more shall leaves come forth on a bough that bears the ban. I am burned with dread, I am dried and dead from the curse of a guiltless man. And ever the judge rides by and goes to hunt the deer. And ever another rides his soul in the guise of a mortal fear. And ever the man, he rides me hard. And never a night stays he, for I feel his curse as a haunted bough on the trunk of a haunted tree.
By rugged ways and through the night, we struggle blindly toward the light, and groping, stumbling, ever pray for sight of long delaying day. The cruel thorns beside the road stretch eager points our steps to goad, and from the thickets all about, detaining hands reach threatening out. Deliver us, O Lord, we cry, our hands uplifted to the sky. No answer save the thunder's peal, and onward, onward still we reel. Oh, give us now thy guiding light, our soul reply, the lightning's blight. Vain, vain, cries one, in vain we call, but fate serene is over all. Beside our way the streams are dried, and famine mates us side by side. Discouraged and reproachful eyes seek more again the frowning skies. Yet shall they come, spite storm and shock, a Moses who shall smite the rock, call manna from the giver's hand, and lead us to the promised land. The way is dark and cold and steep, and shapes of horror murder sleep, and hard the unrelenting years. But twixt our sighs and moans and tears, we still can smile, we still can sing, despite the arduous journeying. For faith and hope their courage lend, and rest and light are at the end.
It was 3 long years into that Civil War before they listed for colored soldiers. My husband lies he went to fight in that war and he never come back. I'll never forget him as long as I live. He was a good man, and I remembers just like it was yesterday when they listed for colored soldiers and my lives went to war. They was talking in the cabin and they was talking in the hall, but I listened kind of careless, not thinking about it all. And on Sunday, too, I noticed they was whispering mighty much, standing all along the roadside when they let us out of church. But I didn't think about it till the middle of the week, when my Elias, he come to see me, but somehow he couldn't speak. And then I see it all in a minute what he come to see me for. They had listed for colored soldiers, and my lies were on the wall. Oh, I hugged him, and I kissed him, and I begged him not to go. But it told me that his conscience, it was calling to him so, and he couldn't bear to linger when he had a chance to fight for the freedom they would give him and the glory of the right. So he kissed me, and he left me when I promised to be true. And they put a knapsack on him and a coat all colored blue. So I give him Pap's old Bible from the bottom of the drawer when they listed for colored soldiers, and my lies were on the wall. Oh, I thought all the weary miles that he would have to tramp, and I couldn't be contented when they took him to the camp. Why, my heart, it nigh broke with grieving, till I seed him on the street. Then I felt like I could go and throw my body at his feet, 'cause his buttons was shining, and his face was shining too, and he looked so strong and mighty in his coat of soldier blue that I hollered, "Step up, Manny," though my throat was sewing raw. When they listed for colored soldiers and my lias went to war. Old Miss cried when Massa left her. Young Miss mourned her brother Ned. And I didn't know they's feelings was the very words they said when I told them I was sorry. They had done give up they all, and they only seemed more prouder that they men's had here to call. Both my masters went in gray suits, but I loved the Yankee blue. And I felt that I could sorrow for the losing of them too, but I couldn't, 'cause I didn't know the half of what I saw. 'Twere they listed for colored soldiers, and my lives went to war. Master Jack came home all sickly. He was broke for life, they said. And they left my poor young master somewheres on the roadside, dead. When the women cried and moaned them, I could feel it through and through, 'cause I had a loved one fighting in the way of danger too. Then they told me that they laid him somewheres way down south to rest. The flag he fit for shining there across his breast. Well, I cried, but then I reckon that's what God had called him for, when they listed for colored soldiers, and my liars went to war.
Listen, God reigns. In ages past, her wisdom's height has sent its piercing ray to cleave the heavy clouds of night and usher in the day. Men's minds were held captive deep, enslaved to one blind school, till reasons let this sentence weep. God reigns, and right shall rule. The war clouds, heavy hung and dark, The storm was swelling fast, but over all the tumult, again listen. A voice comes down the blast, and lo, the tempest is still, and fiery passions cool. As with a cry, the earth is filled. God reigns, and right shall rule. 4 million enslaved humans in chains lay bound, harassed by myriad woes. The lash of whip, the chase of hound, the curses of their foes. But Lincoln came, and with a stroke, he broke the cankling chains, and unto all the world he spoke. Right rules, Jehovah reigns. Today, the skeptic wields his pen, the infidel his tongue, the keen disbeliever lordeth men, his confusing ways among. But let them talk and let them write, or bigot, sage, and fool. There sways an arm of fearless might. God reigns and right shall rule. The courts may temper its decrees, or favor wealth or might. The water of 1,000 seas may try to drown the right. The king, his agents may command and ply each royal tool. But there is still the master hand. God reigns and right shall rule. Yeah, yeah. Wrong may triumph for a day with bold, delusive power. But oh, how stormy is its sway, and oh, how brief its hour. The host of sin are soon undone. Peace flies on pinions cool. The battle gained, the victory won. Allah reigns and right shall rule.
Slave driver, the tables are turning. Catch a fire, you're going to get burned out. Every time I hear the crack of the whip, my blood runs cold. I do remember all the slave ship, how they brutalized my very soul. Today they say that we are free, only to be chained in this poverty. Good God, I think it's illiteracy. It's only a machine that makes money. Slave driver, the tables are turning. Catch a fire, you're going to get burned out.
Emancipation. Emancipation. Fling out your banners, your honors be bringing. Raise to the ether your paeans of praise. Strike every chord and let music be ringing. Celebrate freely this day of all days. Few are the years since the notable blessing raised you from slaves to the powers of men. Each year has seen you, my brothers, progressing, never to sink to that level again. Perched on your shoulders sits liberty smiling, perched where the eyes of the nations can see. Keep from her pinions all contact defiling. Show by your deeds what you are destined to be. Press boldly forward, no waver, no falter. Blood has been freely poured out in your cause. Lives sacrificed upon liberty's altar. Press to the front, it were craven to pause. Look to the heights that are worth your attaining. Keep your feet firm in the path to the gold. Towards noble deeds, every effort be straining. Worthy ambition is food for the soul. Up, men and brothers, be noble, be earnest. Ripe is the time and success is assured. Know that your faith was the hardest and sternest, when through those lashing, ringing days you endured. Never again shall the manacles gall you. Never again shall the whip stroke defame. Nobles and freemen, your destinies call you onward to honor, to glory, to fame.
The war was over, but who knew? We lived under the laws that kept us from reading and writing. And many slave owners wasn't telling us that we was free. So we kept on working in the fields and in the big house the same way. Now, when we finally did hear about General Granger, who posted General Order Number 3 on a church in Galveston, Texas, it was 2.5 years after that emancipation procrastination. But word spread quickly, and while some was too old to leave the plantations and they stayed on as sharecroppers, we left the plantations. That's right. And we traveled far. We looked out for each other, and that's all we had. And we set up and built our own towns, our own farms, our schools, and praise houses. And then we did celebrate our first Juneteenth in 1866. We had our great big party. And everybody was talking about it. That's right. You see, they had a great big party down at Tom's the other night. Was I there? Huh. You bet. You never in your life seen such a sight. All the folks from 4 settlements was invited, and they come trooping thick as cheering when them cheering hear the fife and drum. Huh. What happened, Brother Nashid?
Hey, right here.
Wasn't you at the party?
Was at the party, and let me tell you about that party. That was some party. Everybody was happy on Juneteenth.
How was they dressed up?
Everybody dressed they fines. Let me tell you now. Let me tell you the way it is. Hush your mouth and you get away. Ain't seen no such fancy dressing since last quarterly meeting day. Let me tell you about it. The gals was all dressed in silks and satins, not a wrinkle of their crease. Eyes are batting, teeth are shining, hair brushed back as slick as grease. Skirts all tucked and buffled and ruffled, every blessed seam and stitch. If you seen him with Miss Anne, you couldn't swear to which was which. Men all dressed up in Prince Albert's swallowtails. Ooh, take your breath. I can't tell you nothing about it. You ought to have seen it for yourself.
Who was there?
Who was there?
Yeah, who was there?
Who was that? Now, how you asking? How you expect I'm gonna know? You must think I stood and counted everybody at the door. Let me tell you this. Old man Baba's houseboy Isaac brung that gal Mindy Jane. Her hanging to his elbow, him a strutting with a king. But my Harvey Jones was jealous, seemed to stick him like a thorn. But he laughed with Vinnie Carter, trying hard not to let on. But a person would have noticed from the direction of his look that he was watching every step that Ike and Lindy took.
That's when I came. I saw that. I didn't see that, but that's when I came and I showed up and I saw Ike found the chair and asked her, "Won't you sit down?" with a smile. And she laughed about it, giggling, "Oh, I reckon it ain't worthwhile." Oh, honey, but that was just for style, I reckon, because she sat there just the same, and she stayed there till somebody come and fetched her to play some sort of game. And then I heard her saying proper like as she riz to go away, "Oh, you really must excuse me, for I barely cares to play." But then I seen her in a minute with the others on the floor, and there wasn't any one of them playing anymore. That gal come down that floor bowing and a swinging, throwing on her high-toned matters. All the time she was singing, "Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swing him all around. Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swing him all around. Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swing him all around. Fare you well, my darling."
Oh, I tell you, I had to laugh at old man Johnson. He's a caution now, you bet, hitting close to 100, but he's a spry and nimble yet, and he loved how to sort giggling. I ain't old. I'll let you see. There ain't no use in getting feeble now, you youngsters. You just watch me. And he grabbed old Aunt Mary, weighs 300 or more or less, and he spun her around the cabin swinging Johnny like the rest. Everybody laughed and hollered, "Go it, swinger, Uncle Jim." And he swung it too. Now I reckon like a youngster, who but him?
That was better than young Scott Thomas trying to be so awful smart. You know, when it gets to singing and they come to that there part. In some lady's new brick house, some lady's garden. If you let me out, I'll just say you where my darling. Right to- right. Kept on round. Well, he give one great big jump up the line and lit head foremost in the fireplace right plump. Hit that fire in it, mind you. Well, I thought my soul had bust. Tried my best to keep from laughing, but it seemed like die I must. You ought to see that man a scrambling from the ashes and the grime. Did it burn him? Such a question. Why, he didn't give it time. Throw them ashes and them cinders every which way, I guess. And you never did, I reckon, clap your eyes on such a mess. For he surely made a picture, and a funny one to boot, with his clothes all full of ashes and his face all full of soot.
Well, it like to stop the party, and I reckon that if not, that it Tom's wife Mandy hadn't happened on the spot to invite us out to supper. Well, we scrambled to the table, and I'd like to tell you about it, what we had, but I ain't able. I'll just mention a few things, though. I know I had an order for, I know it'll start your hankering and your mouth will start to water. And we had wheat bread white as cotton, egg pone just like gold, hog jaw billet hot and steaming, roasted short and ham sliced cold. Look out! What's the matter with you? Don't be falling on the floor. If it's gonna affect you like that, I won't tell you anymore. Now, there now. We had hot chitlins. And we had, now, what you's trying again to fall? Can't you stand to hear about it? Suppose you've been there and seen it all. See them great big sweet potatoes laying by the possum's side, and the possum see that potting, that coon and all his gravy. Reckon you'd up and die.
Mandy Loud, you all must excuse me. There wasn't much upon my shelves, but I've done my best to suit you, so sit down and help yourselves. Tom, he loud. I don't believe in apologizing and professing. Let 'em take it like they catch it. Elder Thompson, ask the blessing. Wish you'd seen that colored preacher clear his throat and bow his head when I shut and when I open. This is every word he said.
Lord, look down and tender mercy on such generous hearts as these. Make us truly thankful. Amen. Pastor Possum, if you please.
Well, we ate and drunk our potions till there wasn't nothing left. We felt just like new sausage. We was most nigh stuffed to death. Tom, he know how we was feeling, so he had to fiddle around, and he made us clear that barnyard for to dance that supper down. Jim the fiddler tuned his fiddle, put some wisdom on his bow, set that pine box upon the table, mounted her, and let her go.
Yeah, yeah, boy, he's a fiddler now, I tell you, and he made that fiddle ring. 'Twell the oldest and the lamest had to give their feet a fling. Jigs, cotillions, reels and breakdown, quadrilles and a waltz or two. Bless your soul, that music winged them people lapped the flute. Cripple Joe, the old rheumatic, danced that flow from side to middle. He throwed his crutch and hopped it. What's rheumatics against a fiddle?
Elder Thompson got so tickled that he laughed and lost his grace. Had to take both his feet and hold them down so as to keep them in their place. And the Christians and the sinners got so mixed up on that floor that I don't see how they departed, even if Trump had chance to blow.
Well, we danced that way and capered in the most ridiculous way till the rooster in the barnyard cleared his throat and crowed for day. Y'all ought to been there. I tell you, everything was rich and prime. And there ain't no use in talking. We just had one scrumptious time. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Happy Juneteenth.
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so
We'd like to, the Love of Dunbar Collective, invite you to unmute. And we would really like to thank you for attending with us this evening to commemorate and celebrate the historic Juneteenth National American holiday. We hope that you felt the pride that we feel in honoring our ancestors, recognizing with enduring love and pride their tragedies, their strengths, and their struggles. We've enjoyed sharing our love of Dunbar with you, and y'all come back now and sharing the fun with us at www.loveofdunbar.com. Please, all comments are welcome. Thank you again.
Bravo. Yeah, someone said bravo. That's a really great word to use. This was wonderful. So many different angles of looking at it. I loved how the music was interwoven as well. And just the poetry, Paul Laurence Dunbar, you know, just an amazing creative. And to be able to bring to life some of his skill and wisdom is just wonderful. So thank you to all of you. Excellent.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
How did you like our performance, Miss Renee?
Was that a question?
Yes. How did you think we performed it?
Okay, let's see if I can say that in another way then. So
Okay.
I thought it was absolutely excellent. I enjoyed everything, and I know that you have a wealth of Paul Laurence Dunbar resources, and that makes me just want to know more. His works are appropriate everywhere, and just thank you for bringing them to life for us this evening.
All right, well, check us out at the Love of Dunbar.
Thank you, brother.
Well, I'm going to raise my hand, and if you want to make a comment, you can do the same, and that way we'll know who's next. And we like to talk about his works. I'd like to mention that we we started pretty much on time, and I just want to apologize to ASABI Rich, because she had a wonderful introduction about our group and about Dunbar Prepared. And but we started a little bit early. I mean, we started on time, but I just want to say that. Another thing is, okay, some more participants, great. All right, so we'll just go to Marcia.
Okay, hello. That was fantastic. I'm Marcia Holden, Atlanta, Georgia, in the area, Kaumba Storytellers. And it hit home for me. My father, who transitioned about a year ago, loved Paul Laurence Dunbar because we're from Dayton, Ohio, and he had volunteered at the Paul Laurence Dunbar home. And he was 93 when he transitioned. So I always like to tell people that whenever two or more people gather, my father always wanted me to recite in the morning. So that was really the only piece that I was used to. And I said, oh, if my father was alive, he would have loved this and been himself, I'm sure, familiar with a lot of the pieces that you did. So I'm to look you up. I just thought everybody was just everything was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Marcia, you can recite in the morning for us. You remember any of it a little bit?
I do, but
come on now.
I can just say the first stanza.
That's okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. Lies, bless the Lord. Don't you know these days are bored? If you don't get up, you scamp, there'll be trouble in this camp. Twine, I'm gonna let you sleep while I meet your bold teeth. Now that's a pretty how to do. Don't you hear me, lies you?
Woo! That's it. That's it. That's it.
Come on.
That's
We
it.
love it. We absolutely love it.
You need you in the
We,
collective.
Storyteller.
we
That's a
love it.
storyteller.
Yeah. And we love
My father's
You need you
probably
in the
we
jumping
love
in
collective.
his grave.
you should
You
you
need
should
you in the
join us.
collective.
We only meet once a month. And it's on the
Oh,
second Fridays. And we'd love to have
wow.
you. And we have so much fun. We have, there's some serious pieces. We did a lot of serious pieces tonight
You
that a lot of people
did.
never heard about, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, but we
Okay,
have a
so
great time.
I can look it up. Is there a the or just loveofdunbar.com?
It's loveofdunbar.com. And
Okay.
because you have the ID and the password for tonight, you can just come on.
Oh,
It's,
okay,
our
okay.
next meeting is going to be February 12th. I mean, not February, July
Wait for
12th. I'm way
July
ahead of
12th.
myself.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat. And if anyone else wants to speak, you're welcome to share a poem or because I just love hearing everyone do this work. So,
Wow.
and I want to mention on the flyer, I'm gonna put the information in the chat right now. In the flyer, we had Bettye Haskins, and because I was the only tech tonight, don't tell nobody. And we didn't have a chance to show you the YouTube video. So if you go to our YouTube channel, which is Love of Dunbar YouTube, you can see the introduction that Bettye had prepared for this program, and you can also see her version of Whip Poor Will and KATY did, and also when they listed colored soldiers. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's still kind of a secret right now because we want to get some top-notch video up there so we can share it with the schools. It's an educational channel. We don't monetize because we want a new generation of people to know Dunbar, the children to learn his works, and they to be able to play it in the school. So if you go to Love of Dunbar, subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us July 12th. We'll be looking at Bettye did a production, and everybody gets a turn to produce a show, to produce a program. Bettye did The Circle of Life from dawn to dawn, and we're going to be watching it and sort of critiquing it and giving her feedback on it for the first hour of the meeting. And then the second hour, we get into researching the works, and we're going to look into short stories.
Oh, okay. Well, has anybody been to the Paul Laurence Dunbar House in Dayton, Ohio?
Oh, yes, I have. I got to perform at the finale for the Dunbar 150. I've been there several times. Weren't you in Cincinnati in 2008 with me and Mitch, and we went to National Association of Black Storytellers, and then we went up to Dayton from Cincinnati. Yeah, yeah, I have several times. Yeah, I love it there.
Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful.
Anybody else can speak up. Come on, I know y'all ain't shy. Renee, we have two of you, and I was scared to kick the second person of you out because I said if I put her out, it might knock you out.
No, I don't know what that's all about.
Okay, but it keeps saying connecting to audio. There's your little cute picture there. You're so cute. All right. Anyone else want to say anything? Thank you, Marcia. That was beautiful in the morning, girl. You can do it in our next program.
Yes. What I want to say is how much I have enjoyed being a member of this group. I have learned much from the telling of Dunbar's tales and how to tell them and how to express yourself in your feelings on the various subjects. And now I'm going to excuse myself, take my shower, and go to bed. And Marcia, don't let Oni kid you. You only meet that infrequently for your meetings, but when you put on a production, as Oni puts it on, you are there on the hour, on the day, on cue.
All right. You were excellent.
Wonderful.
Donna Marie, you did an excellent job.
And yes, Donna Marie,
Bless your heart, thank you. But you know, Nzinga, How tall are you?
Huh?
Nzinga, how tall is she?
5'3".
Well, that's okay. I'll keep you on then as my substitute.
No, you did
I don't
great.
think I'm too
Well, you
tall.
did well, and I'd like to mention that Donna Marie is 88 years old.
Wow,
We
wonderful.
all want to be like her when we grow up.
Yes, we do.
I want to grow up.
She's a trooper. She's such a trooper because she's going through some things and she never misses the meetings. She never misses rehearsal. And we just love having her point of view and her insight on the poetry.
I
And it's
bet.
very important that we hear from her because Dunbar's poetry is really, we call him a literary humanitarian.
Yeah.
All
He
his
truly
works
is.
people can feel. Everybody can feel it. I'd like to also mention that this is Nashid Ali's first time with us. Timeless out of New Orleans. Nashid, Timeless. Yes. And Ron is new as well down in Texas. Ron and Nashid are members of Keepers of the Culture. I've known them for years. And Nzinga also. We've done live productions together where I get to really crack the whip.
I'm actually from.
And I want to also mention before I stop talking, which will be never, that also Patter's here, and Patter, his hand is up. No, your hand is up. What are you saying? Shh. Patter Murphy is a Dunbarian, and he tells Dunbar and all his activities over in Carryduff, Ireland, and he's also our video editor. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll get to see his work, which is beautiful.
All right.
The way he helps up.
Also want to let y'all know that I'm actually from Philadelphia. I am a Philly dog. You know what I mean? And I'm living in Texas. And I want to thank all of my fellow Dunbarians. Oh, man, y'all gave him hell tonight.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
You was preaching tonight. We heard that preaching.
That was a great show.
That was
good.
You liked it, Patter?
The emotion and the history in it was just awesome. And, you know, it really, everybody was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, like I was just, I was totally immersed in it, you know.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. They were great, weren't they, Marcia?
Yes. Fantastic.
Thank you, Murphy.
Let me
Murphy
also
wasn't
say,
feeling well because he had a part. There's a poem Dunbar wrote to who is it? The Irish fella. It was an Irish hero, but Patter wasn't feeling well enough to rehearse and work it with us. But maybe we'll get it. We're going to compile this into a video for our YouTube channel, and hopefully Patter's part will be in sync. We'll have ASABI's introduction in sync. We'll have Bettye Haskins videos, and Patter's going to do that special stuff he does of editing, and you'll get to see him also do and talk about John O'Reilly, who Dunbar wrote a poem in tribute to. And so, you know, thank you. It's nice seeing you, Shirley Johnson.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Fishmonger.
Yes. I came in about 10 minutes into the presentation, but I know I can catch on the introduction at your YouTube channel. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I learned so much. I'm very, very inspired by the way the Dunbarians are talking about our heroes, the trendsetters, the pace setters, people who've been there before, honoring them. And remembering that those are the shoulders that we are standing on. So this is something that has inspired me to also even go back and do some of our stories from Africa, and you know, a lot of our heroes, and then remember them in such a beautiful tribute. So this was really, really inspiring to me. So Auntie Oni and everybody else, thank you so much. I loved it. I'm gonna go on YouTube right now and look up the introduction. Yeah.
Bring the flavor to the fish.
Yes.
And the flavor to the rice.
Well,
So
Fishmonger, I call him Baba O. Baba O has a wonderful YouTube channel called Fishmonger Stories. And he is from Kenya, Laos. He's very humble. He lets me brag about him all the time. So he dresses in his traditional clothing and he tells wonderful stories. If you're looking for some really authentic African stories, go to Fishmonger Stories and see his videos. They are absolutely fabulous. His daughters help him with the designs and the props, and he is something. He is a original true griot in every sense of the world.
thank you.
A word.
Thank you.
He comes from the same village as Barack Obama, the Lao people,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Lao people of Kenya.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's Obama's cousin, honey.
Yes.
Oni, can we invite Fishmonger to join us?
I don't know. Yeah, we might. I don't know. He's too busy. He's also he's also a nurse. He's a traveling nurse. This brother don't play, okay? So not only does he help and heal people with stories, he travels all over nursing.
Where does he live? Where's Fishmonger from?
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
Okay. Detroit. That's where he's living.
Right. You want to talk? I'll stop talking. I'll be quiet.
Yes, Detroit, Michigan. But I do travel nursing, so sometimes I'm in California, Arizona, but my home base is in Detroit.
All right.
Yes.
Make a connection.
California.
Yes, but I feel like I still have a lot to learn. Just looking at how you guys did this tonight, the bar is very high. There's a lot of just sit down and learn and watch and learn. And then after you sit down and learn, then perhaps you can make a request to join them. But for now, I just want to learn, man. You guys brought it, really.
Are you on YouTube?
Yes, Fishmonger Stories.
Okay.
I'll put it down there.
He'll tell you to get on with it.
Shirley.
Get on with it.
Johnson,
can I tell you a story? Can I
get on with it?
Get on with it. Shirley Johnson, my storyteller from New Jersey, my girl in the house, my Stewart Village family. You know, it's just wonderful to see Renee here from Assist. Thank you so much. Barry Scott, y'all, was my boss at KPFA radio back in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's been here visiting with me. She's leaving me tomorrow and I'm going to cry.
Wow. Thank everybody for joining us.
How'd you like it, Barry? Yeah.
Now, how are you able to do the transition, the music in
I'm
between?
sorry. She did all of that.
Were you doing that?
Yes. Yes.
Your skill set is up.
Yes. That's my thing. That's my special gift is that
you've gotten so good. You've gotten so good.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. It wasn't easy because I had to do the tech too. But
that's what I saw. The transitions were very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
They're very smooth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm all they got, so or they're all I have.
No, I enjoyed it greatly. So I was happy to be here while you were putting this together. I don't know. I'm sure the folks who are with you here, but a lot of work goes into putting one of these programs on. So I send my hats on to all of you guys who are dedicated to keeping this tradition and this, the poetry and the spirit alive. It's really wonderful. So thank you from the people.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Barry was the director of the Third World Department in Berkeley, California, KPFA. It's still alive. It's the 75th anniversary of KPFA radio. So she's headed back your way, Nzinga, back to Oakland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in Sacramento.
I know. Well, that's not far. That's driving distance from Oakland.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
used
and
to
I'm
drive to
actually in
Sacramento.
Philadelphia
Hmm?
with KATY, Keepers of the Culture of Philadelphia, because I just moved back out here. Yeah, I used to listen to KPFA all the time. Yeah.
Yep, yep. So someone asked about hey, is that Wanda? Is that Valentine Pierce? Hi.
Not Wanda.
Oh, okay. How are you? Nice to see you, Valentine. So if anyone wants to say anything else, that's fine. We want you to do some Dunbar. We appreciate all
Greetings,
the
Valentine.
kudos.
Greetings.
Huh?
Greetings.
Greetings, Martha. Greetings.
Who's Martha?
I think it was
Martha
wonderful.
was on the call. I don't
It's
know if she still
Marcia.
is.
Marcia's here.
No,
Yeah.
Martha from
Much.
Oh,
Lambs was
Martha
here.
Ruff. Yeah, Martha always comes. Martha always
Yeah.
shows up, and I'm waiting for her to come to join us because we have a Dunbar poem for everybody.
I wanted to say I really liked what y'all did with the music. Although I
Yeah.
found some music rather interesting. The Yankee Doodle, I was like, Yankee Doodle, and Johnny Comes Marching Home, and taps. I found it interesting that y'all played taps.
Well, the taps it's like a death, burial thing. It's a funeral tune.
Best MC. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And Johnny Come Marching Home was sung in the North and in the South. So from what I researched about it was that it was played on both sides.
Interesting.
Because I thought it was just a Southern song.
And the taps have a military history dating way back to the 19th and 18th century.
Hey, y'all. Valentine is a veteran.